One race to go before we close things out for the round of 8 and take 4 over down to the Sunshine State for one final trip. Before we get to that critical final race, though, we see who's in and who's out. Welcome to the Eliminator for the round of 8. My name is Ola Rempel alongside Derek Watson. We are bringing you all of racing coverage from a beautiful Monday night to kick off another week. Derek, it's Phoenix, it's Avondale, typically nowadays seen as the season finale. One shy of that, though, this afternoon. This is, however, first time this track sees a slot in the playoffs in the High Tide Racing League.
Yeah, it's the penultimate race here for the season of the High Tide Racing League. And, of course, now we call it Phoenix Raceway. It's been called ISM. It's been called Phoenix Race. It's been called Fast Track International Speedway. For one day in time, it was called the Jeff Gordon Raceway. But tonight, as you said, we call it home to the penultimate race of the playoffs. 4 drivers will lock in a spot. A couple hearts we've broken, some laps we turned, and one person will come home winner tonight at this racetrack.
It's going to be an extremely intense drive this afternoon as we get set to see who's going to line up where this afternoon. Take a look at the point standings entering this one. We take 4 into the final race of the season. Dalton Kilroy right now effectively locked in on points. Sean Williams and Dustin Ping not quite safe yet, but they are riding comfortably into Avondale. Scott Shire, the big one tonight, he's in a 5-point deficit with him and Ty Marasco. And then out of the 14 now, Brian Dees and David Lakey both have mathematical chances. And then, of course, you got Michael Thorpe Jr. still absent this afternoon. Look-alike, the GWRS GGA Esports number 34 will once again be absent in the round of 8.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Michael to have that happen. A real star throughout the season, but sure he'll be back next season ready to go. But as you said, lots of stuff here. I mean, I think it's fair to say, Nolan, Dalton Kilroy and Sean Williams are safe. Those are the ones I feel confident in saying those are good. But it's an 11-point gap, I think, between Ping and Marasco. There's a points gap then between 4th and 7th, technically. As long as I think, you know, especially Ping has a solid, safe day and finishes under his own power, probably even the same for Shire. I think that's the 4, but we run his races to see what happens.
Who knows what's going to happen, right? Phoenix Raceway could go either way. Season 1, we saw 14 cautions here. It was one of the more messy races of the season. Last season, we only had 5 cautions here. However, both races went to overtime. We have not had one race at Phoenix in HTRL's history where we have not gone at least into single overtime. Last season, we went into double overtime. What do you think? Overtime this afternoon, with it being a playoff run now?
I don't know. The track conditions are pretty favorable today, as you saw on the screen to start this race, this broadcast. Only 74 degrees on the track Fahrenheit. I think by a mix of that and the mix of these Xfinity cars being a bit more stable in the dogleg than some of the other cars, I think we're going to finish under green. I really do. I'm hopeful for it. I do. I think under green, we've had a good set of runs in the High Tide Racing League of not having too many wreck-filled races. I think we'll continue that trend tonight.
I would hope so as well. I mean, this field has been absolutely great so far this afternoon. It's been great throughout the whole season. You still got 20-plus cars all ready to run, but you got rookie sensations still trying to make names for themselves. You got your championship competitors all present bar one, trying to see who will race their way into that final crucial race at Homestead Miami Speedway. And then, of course, you've got everybody in between, right? The drivers that are eliminated, the drivers fighting for the regular season championship, all just trying to go for that one last spot of glory before the end of the season. And we'll get to all of the stories that this race is going to entail in just a few moments. But before we get to all of that, we're going to have to take ourselves with a quick step back. We'll get through opening ceremonies, and when we return, it is going to be time for racing action once again on Green Flag TV. So checker flag going to fall in just a few seconds time on the 10-minute warm-up session this afternoon. It's been a solid season so far, and who knows, this race at Phoenix, like we said, could go either way. But we'll see who's going to line up where as the field gets set to grid on up from Avondale, Arizona. Starting on pole position this afternoon, it is going to be none other. One session eventually clicks over. We'll get to those results. There we go. Mark Arthur, number one on the pole, going to be this afternoon. He starts on that front row alongside Season 1 champion Benjamin Lacey. Bob Berry starts in third alongside Brian Dees, with Tanner Marr back on row number 3 alongside Dustin Ping. Scott Shire going to be on row number 4 alongside Larry Bell, and that brings up Derek Paulson as well as Kevin Foster for the top 10.
Moving back into P11's David Lakey with Michael Keithley outside him in P12. Then it's Connor Gibson and Dalton Kilroe, your points leader all the way back in 14. Jonathan Canfield and John Osborne back in row 8. And then Dustin Hopp and Sean Williams, 17th, 18th, and then 19th and 20th. Ty Marasco and Ethan Sikorsky. Those are a couple of the last cars, I believe, to have turned at times. And then we got Austin McGill, Nick Osipek, Michael Ashmore, and Robert Lukens, rounding out a 24-car field at the Phoenix Raceway.
Bottom 4 cars not putting down times this afternoon. Usually that's a tactic we see with super speedways. What benefits do you reckon they could have to start in the back here in this one? Just avoiding chaos?
I mean, maybe just lack of comfort in the car. Maybe you don't want to be in the way. You know, something that got discussed today amongst the league members was sort of a concern about not wanting to be in the way, right? Not wanting to be in the way of what is a cutoff race, what is the Final Four cutoff race, to add some stress to that. So there was some talk about that today about, I don't want to affect anything. So maybe if you're McGill, Osipek, Ashmore, Lukens, you want to come out here and race, but you want to get your, your proverbial feet under you and get comfortable before you start moving to the front.
Field going to work its way down the back straightaway and in towards turn numbers 3 and 4. We are happy that you are joining us for some more beautiful racing action here on a... Oh, never mind! Holy cow! Well, last race we didn't make it to turn 1 where we got the caution. This time we don't even make it to the start-finish line.
This is becoming a problem for you and I.
No kidding.
With things happening under caution. Those who watched the Cyber 500 yesterday saw this sort of thing happen yesterday. And what the heck happens here? There's Bomberry in the front and the yellow.
A lot of separation I want to point out. And I wonder if maybe it's a case of, oh, Ping had problems. Look at that wheel. He had a hardware failure.
Yep, and then Larry Bell went around.
Ooh.
David Lakey got involved. Ty Marasco got involved. Wow.
Oh, and then look at that glare. That's why nobody saw this coming. Spotters aren't in play yet. They're not activated on iRacing yet. No one had any idea this was happening.
Yeah, they did not. And there's some discussion right now amongst the drivers about some lack of happiness about having damaged race cars to start this race. So we're going to see what race control wants to do here. We're still pacing around, and I think we're going to go green this time. We are. Here we are. Green flag racing live from Phoenix. Wow, what a bit of chaos that was to start the race.
That's one of the weirdest race starts I think you and I have ever called. Mark Arthur has taken off in the meantime down into turn numbers 1 and 2. Working to the back straightaway. Benjamin Lacey picks up the number 2 spot. Bob Berry back here in 4th, trying to hang on against Dalton Kilbrough, already nursing a wounded warrior now. And we're 3 wide as we get set across our finish line. Arthur leads lap 1.
Yeah, lots of things to talk about here. I'm not sure exactly why. Michael Keithley has a black flag. I think it's going to be for passing on the yellow. There's some damaged race cars. There's some confusion. Wow.
John Osborne off the top shelf of turn number 2, round the outside of David Lakey now as we drive it in deep into turn numbers, oh boy, 3 and 4. Ping sweeping up from the bottom side, got his hardware issues figured out, and now Ping gonna try to see what he can do with the rest of the pack here as Austin McGill is just up the road, and we'll have to ask Ping what went on there later on in the race, because that is that's one that is gonna be an interesting discussion post-race of this one for sure.
Yeah, Ping has reported to the race server, had a hardware failure and just wheel lost connection. One car to the right. However, look at the back end of Ping here, by the way, as that car goes by. He is badly damaged in the back end, and I'm wondering if that's what's causing some of the wobble in this car. Look how that car is as bent in the back. And interesting enough, you and I kind of said pre-race, as long as Ping stays safe and doesn't have a bad day, he's probably locked in. Well, starting lap 0 with that kind of damage is not the equivalent of having a good day. So that already adds a little bit of drama, a little bit of confusion, a little bit of, I don't know, to this race. So as we now take away the laps here, lap 5, I can say there's a lot of drivers upset. A lot are asking race control to do anything here, throw out competition yellow or anything, because there's a lot of cars in the back of the field that are beat up and they don't think it's fair that they got that damage on lap 0. But right now we are staying green here at Phoenix.
Well, here's my response to that, right? Would you get a competition yellow if something like that were to happen under pacing later on in the race? If the answer is no, then you shouldn't do it for a lap 1 incident. It sucks, but you can't make an exception just because you hadn't taken the green flag yet if you want to get one later in the race for the same situation.
I agree and disagree. There's a difference between what happens during the race and what technically happens before the race, in my opinion. And technically lap 0 is not in the race. Like, that's something that I see your point, but it's before the race. There's many a times in real life that, people have been allowed to fix things last minute before a race begins, or at least look at it and make the difference here. But here's Scott Shire. He's 3 wide. That's Jaden Hopp way on the inside of the apron. That is a move that has become way more prevalent in the past, I don't know, 3-4 years of real life racing here at Phoenix, and it's becoming more. I think it doesn't work as well in the sim, honestly, as it does in real life. But Jaden Hop made it work right there.
Well, now here's the other thing. If you did want to try to go for a full race restart, right, you would need to have a lot of coordination among the field, because if you have a case where, and say they extended that lap 0 caution, right, you allow everyone to come down, get that damage repaired, and line up at their original grid spots. Well, now they have an inherent advantage because they've got, what, 5-10 laps more fuel as Dustin Ping slides it out. But they would have more fuel than everybody that's on the lead lap that didn't have any damage because, well, they never came down to pit road. They're still pacing. They're still burning fuel. I think the only way to really make that fair would be to force everyone to come down to pit road, regardless of damage. Yep. Fill up gas, no tires, get your damage repaired, and then go.
Yeah, right now that's not going to happen. There'll be a couple of cars. I know I heard Michael Keithley's pretty well bent up. Kevin Foster's missing a hood, the last I heard. So Dustin Ping, of course, beat up in the back end. Lots of damage here across these race cars. But we're going to stay green here. Already at lap 10, by the way. We talked about this being a long race, 150 laps. We're almost 10% done.
Michael Ashmore, by the way, has retired from this race in this one. And kind of looking through some of the comments being shown, Derek, that might have been a retirement out of protest.
Yeah, maybe so. I'm not sure, and that's unfortunate to see here. So we now know, as of this moment, Michael Ashmore finishing 24th. That'll take care of one spot in this race. There's Ty Marasco racing hard with that 23 machine, by the way. That 23 being Tanner Marr.
So, Ty Marasco driving it in deep, getting around Tanner Marr. Jaden Hop working the high side of the racetrack now, looking for a bit of 3 wide, as well as Austin McGill has got the inside lane. One good thing, we're talking about this going into this race, right? A lot of Gen 7 races here tend to be big caution fests because people attack the dog leg, the car bottoms out. You don't have that problem with these cars. I don't think that's a problem we're going to be seeing much this afternoon with that dog leg.
Oh, hold on. Sorry, breaking news. We are going to restart the race.
Really?
That is word from race control. We are going to restart this race, so...
Copy that.
It's going to be a first for me as a broadcaster, but...
All right, so now... this is just driving. Yeah, I mean, this is
fun.
Yeah, guys having fun with it. I mean, hey, this is just barely shenanigans at this point in time. They do this at the end of every sprint race. Why not? Let's have some of that on Monday night.
Yeah, so they're gonna build a brand new server, and
this is uncharted territory for this broadcaster. I'm gonna be honest.
All right. Well, yeah, this is gonna be different for us. So. Let's do a couple things here. Let's just go with this for a moment, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Can I find where would be Dustin Ping? I'm going to pull him into the waiting room and pull him in here. Let's see if we can get a word from Dustin Ping while we got a moment and see if we can figure out what happened.
We have time. It's going to take them a minute to...
Oh, we got plenty of time.
Well, and now here's my big question now, I guess, for race control. Well, we'll ask them that, but...
They said they're going to put the grid back, so they're going to set a custom grid here.
Okay.
And do
fair
all
enough.
that.
I think that's fair.
Oh, did I miss it? Nope, let's bring Dustin Ping in. Dustin, since we're going to pull you in here since this race is kind of unprecedented at the moment. I've never had a broadcast where we've restarted a race before, so we're going to burn some time here. But I want to give you a chance to ask Yus directly what happened.
For some reason, I apparently got too close to the wall there on the pace laps, and it yanked my wheel to the right. And I tried to grab it back. When I did, I pulled back into traffic, and everybody ran into me. It was an accident.
Yeah, nothing on purpose. I was wondering, was it like a hardware failure? Did a wheel disconnect?
No, it wasn't that. I guess I got pulled into the wall. I guess, you know how iRacing is. You get too close to the wall, it just pulls you in, it sucks you in, you can't get off of it. I've never had that happen before, like under pace laps. It's just an unprecedented thing, and I feel horrible.
Understood. Well, the good news is everyone's going to get a second chance. We're going to apparently rebuild the server and start over. So I'm going to ask you while you're down here. I mean, you're in a points battle, pardon me for stopping there, for your third in points, as long as you have a safe run, you're probably safe as far as making the playoffs are concerned. Is that how you feel about it, or do you want to go out here and just win tonight and not have to worry about it?
I feel better now that the session's restarting because my car was kind of cramping.
It was pretty beat up, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. At least I'll start where I'm supposed to start, not further back. So we'll just see how it goes. I think I had the pace to possibly get top 5.
So is the goal here tonight to go, like, win and just say, hey, it's mine, or is the goal here just maybe to, you know, drive safe and score the points? What's the big goal here, do you think?
I think I'm just going to try to finish, and if I finish, it is what it is, but I don't think a win's in cards.
All right, well, Dustin, listen, we're going to get back to it so you can kind of figure out what is going on, and we're going to figure out the same. Good luck, and maybe we'll talk to you later.
All right, thank you.
All right, that is Dustin Ping. We'll put him back up with his teammates where he was. But Nolan, this is uncharted water for me. I guess we're gonna wait and hear from Race Control about what exactly we're gonna build a new server. You and I are gonna load into it. We'll get the broadcast started.
Yes, sir.
And we'll get moving again.
We'll do all of that, and we'll be back in a moment. Obviously, we're going to have to take a step back so we can jump into the news session ourselves. So we'll leave you for a moment, and we'll be back on Green Flag TV. Stay with us. 150 laps at Avondale still coming up. Welcome back to Green Flag TV, and after an extensive delay, we are almost ready to go back to Green Flag Racing. There's been some updates when we had to reset the session once, then twice. Austin McGill and Michael Keithley have both withdrawn from tonight's event. Now, typically that would leave you with a 22-car grid. That's easy math. But we have 23, and the reason for that, Derek, Kyle Wellman has joined the grid during this break.
Yeah, a little, I don't know, hokey pokey, you know, one driver in, one driver out. So I guess, well, one driver in, two drivers out in this case. So we'll have a new grid to go over in just a moment. It's been, one of the drivers referred to it, by the way, Nolan, as our own little virtual rain delay, as if we were at Daytona for the 500. So that's a good way to look at this. But it's been, what, 41 minutes or so since Dustin Ping hit the wall on lap 0, causing big calamity out of, I guess, what is now turn 3, or into turn 3, pardon me. And Race Control decided, listen, this is a playoff race. This is a cutoff race for the Final Four. We can't have anything happening that could really, you know, question the authority, or question the judgment, or question the authenticity is the word I want of this results. So, all right, well,
I can respect that, right? Because the worst possible, and this is coming from a league owner that's had to deal with this, right? The worst possible thing that you can have to deal with is an unprecedented and extremely controversial decision that is coming around, not just in a playoff race, but an elimination race as well. You want to try to avoid those types of scenarios as much as they can. So they are just covering all the bases. It's taken some time. We're going to be here a little bit later than normal tonight. I think that much has been made perfectly obvious, because we have 150 laps ahead of us still yet to run. But it's a good call to preserve the integrity of the championship.
So, yeah, and I think let's talk about it. You and I weren't debating this before we knew what the decision was, and I think the ultimate factor is it's lap 0 when all this happens, right? The race is not official. And the way I kind of put it in my head would be, what things could happen to a race car in real life before the race begins, where real life Race Control will say, hey, no, wait, like, let's fix that, or give you a chance to fix it before the race begins. I think that's the difference here, is, you know, the lap 0 versus lap whatever comes down to it. And I think that's where the deciding factor for Race Control was, listen, if this happens, you know, lap 15, lap 20, lap 25, then everyone's just kind of are where they are, and it's not, you know, and it's done. You know, it's not a points paying race. I always come back to the 2001 NASCAR All-Star race, where it rained right as the green flag fell, and NASCAR let them all go back and fix their cars and race the All-Star race. But yeah, very different. So Dustin Ping, we were told by Race Control earlier, likely to get an EOL when this race goes live, which I think is fair. You know,
yeah,
I think that's fair.
He's lucky he's not getting more, considering the fact that he's bumped the whole day's schedule back by about 40 minutes.
Yeah, so yeah, we're probably 45 minutes since that happened, and this mass chaos ensued, and drivers were up in arms. And you know, credit to the Race Control, Dalton Kilrow, Benjamin Lacey, and the others. They worked hard to figure out what to do. So, all right, well, I think we're ready to actually start this race again if we want to go through the grid.
Yeah, let's go through one more time, because we have had some changes, obviously. Up front, it's the same. It's Arthur, Lacey, Barry Dees, Marping, Shire, Bell, Foster, Lakey to round to the top 10. All the changes have happened from further down in the field from the retirements.
Yeah, so now it's Connor Gibson and Dalton Kilrow, 11th and 12th. Canfield, Osborne, Hop, Williams, Marasco, and Sikorsky. And then Osapek, Ashmore, Lukens, and Kyle Wellman now starts 22nd. As I said, we had the two drivers who have backed out. They're not going to race. So we went from 24 to 22 with the addition of Kyle Wellman. So therefore, some people like Dalton Kilrow, by the way, has moved up, I think, 2 spots since the original forum. Well, here we are. By the way, Dustin Ping, I do believe, is going to serve the EOL. It's So that'll put him in the back of the field here. But, well, Nolan, a 1 mile racetrack, banking all around this track, and a very chaotic race is up ahead.
Well, hopefully not as chaotic as what we just had 45 minutes ago, though. Let's get that. Let's get that jinx off the cards. But field going to work its way through turn numbers 3 and 4, and once again we are just about ready to rumble. Now we'll see how the start of this race is going to go. This time, no problems. Entering turn number 3, Derek Paulson has announced he is also retired from this race due to time constraints over on his side of things. Green flags in the air. It's go, go, go for the second time at Avondale.
Didn't take long to get 3 wide. Did it look as they're going to come around the corner here? It's Connor Gibson riding that bottom lane, moves up here, and we are racing hard on lap 1.
Ryan Dees catching the outside wall, entering turn number 3. Bob Berry sends it to the inside, muscles the 17 car up the track. Up front, Mark Arthur leads the way to close out lap number 1, side by side behind as we fire through the dog leg.
See Connor Gibson riding an inside lane, definitely feels comfortable down there, riding up under the 23 car. All right, well, what I got to wonder in my head, Nolan, right now is for these drivers is how do you reset? I mean, you turned to 10 laps before we called it. You then had a 45-minute break. We're kind of jokingly calling it a rain delay, if you will. But as a driver, there's so much calamity, there's so much confusion, there's chaos involved in all this stuff. Now you've got to get your head back in the game. That'd be like playing like the first quarter of an NFL Super Bowl, and then like let's go back to the rooms for an hour. You know, it's not easy to get your head back in the game.
Especially since prior to the regular races kicking off, right? You got the warm-up sessions, you got qualifying, you got the 1 hour practice. It's been effectively, though, 45 minutes of nothing of drivers having to sit around. That does throw off your rhythm a little bit. I think for the most part, we have gotten everybody back into the rhythm of things here. Everybody seems to be navigating this track quite nicely so far. One close call between Dees and Barry, but for the most part, it's looking like we're going to be smooth sailing from here on out, though Brian Dees is steadily closing in on Mark Arthur now, looking for the inside on the number 98. 48.
Long legs now going to dig down here to 40. That Barbie machine, well painted, by the way. It's a nice, easy to recognize what that paint scheme is all about. They're going to go side by side out of 2. They're going to drag race it down, put us down the back straight from the front straight. And Dees is going to try, but he's getting pinched really hard here by Mark Arthur. Mark Arthur wants to lead this lap, and he will. Again, now, the thing to talk about, Nolan, I never really thought about. So we talked about things getting reset. All that time they spent in practice the first time rubbering up this track and getting the groove the way they wanted it, that's gone, by the way.
It is, and that's going to inherently change the way that this race is run. Now, will it be for the benefit of this field or as a detractor? We'll get to see on that one. We've seen a lot of good racing, though, so far. A lot of clean racing, critically. Hard racing, yes, but that's to be expected from a playoff elimination race, especially when you get so many of the playoff drivers in the same pack like this field here. 9th on down to 14th, all playoff contenders.
And good news for Brian Dees. He came into tonight 6th in points. He came in 38 points from the leader. That's not his concern. His concern is he's 14 points off of Scott Shire. Now, Shire runs 13th currently. So, I mean, 2nd to 13th, that's 11 spots. That's a good start for Brian Dees. But with this narrow of a field and people dropping out, it hurts Brian Dees a little bit as David Lakey just got up there and kind of pinched up against Dalton Kilroe. We're still racing here at this racetrack. You know, something that's catching me off guard a little bit as we're watching this racing happen, Nolan, the number of people who are not abusing the dog leg. Maybe that's because I'm more used to calling the Gen 7 races here at Phoenix, but you see a couple cars down here, but it's not nearly as aggressive as it is in the current NASCAR, Cup models.
I think it's because when you go down to the dog leg, you are inherently sacrificing a lot of speed for a more straight line approach. So you have to be really confident you can get up there into turn number 1. And right now, not a lot of drivers have that confidence. Up the track goes Brian Dees as Arthur looked to the inside. Our defense off the 17. How about Benjamin Lacey has very quietly been working his way up on the top 2, and now he is challenging for the race lead as well.
Yeah, doing a great job here. This is a 3-way battle. Now, what this battle will do, Nolan, is it's going to allow Foster, Gibson, Hop, Tanner Marr, and others to get up here involved into this fight pretty quickly, because when you're 2 and 3 wide racing here at Phoenix, you're not running your optimal lane. You're not going as fast as you normally would, and you're allowed in the field to catch you.
And that is, again, something that a lot of folks at this point have learned how to use against one another for their own benefit. Drivers know what each other's driving habits are. They've been racing together for the last 21 weeks or so. They know they know what the game plan is, and they know how to surpass them. Connor Gibson, by the way, running up to the 5th place spot. Seen a lot of aggression out of that number 31 car over these last few weeks. I'm a bit surprised he hasn't been getting the elbows out more tonight.
Yeah, sort of interesting. He noted he wasn't that well practiced here. He kind of joked during the delay. He's like, hey, can I get an EOL in the second race? And then he kind of admitted he was kind of joking about it, but he's doing pretty well here. Running up here in P5 is Connor Gibson. Got Jaden Hop behind him. So these two drivers are both still, I think Hop's made a name for himself, but I think both of those drivers still trying to cement their name into the High Tide legacy. Both are doing a great job. Well, there's Dustin Ping, by the way. Remember, he had the EOL. He is now running P9, so he's really worked his way through this field, Nolan. I mean, go from 20th or 21st or 22nd up to 9th in only 13 laps. Tells you, he must feel comfortable.
Oh yeah, no kidding. I mean, Dustin Ping has gotten this track dialed in tonight, already up to the 9th place spot from starting this race back in 22nd. Just 14 laps ago. That's averaging over position gain for every single lap. Now, he does have about a half second up now to Dalton Kilroy. Battles on for the number 2 spot. Benjamin Lacey going to take that one away from Brian Dees. Dees right now, we were talking about it earlier, he needs 14 points on Scott Shire if he wants to tie, and then another point. So 15 if he wants to surpass with the points. And right now, despite having 3rd place, I don't think he's got that number.
He definitely needs to win, and then just let whatever happens, happens. If you're Brian Dees, if you're David Lakey, heck, even if you're Ty Maraska, who's only, I think, 4 points back, all you can do tonight is go win and let everything else sort it out. It's, you know, there's an old boxing or MMA analogy where you don't leave the fight in the hands of the judges. You can't be mad at the judge's scorecard if you didn't go out there and finish it yourself. Well, finishing yourself in the forms of racing means winning this race. That's what you have to do. Now, we heard from Dustin King well before the play. Dustin said, hey, I'm good on points. I just have to kind of ride tonight and not make a mistake. So, I mean, right now, you see Dalton Kilroy passing on the inside of Connor Gibson. Dalton, we know, is basically locked in. He is locked in. Sean Williams, currently running in P14, is locked in on points. Unless something really, really, really weird happens tonight. Which I probably shouldn't say that after how we started the broadcast. So lots of points up here. I'm impressed by Dustin Ping. I mean, and what I think part of that is, Nolan, if I'm honest with you, is I think there's some drivers in the back, maybe a Larry Bell, and Nick Osapek, a Kyle Wellman, who are not in the playoffs. They don't want to be in the way of the playoffs, and I'm wondering if some of those drivers kind of just let him go, so they were not going to be, oh my gosh, you know, in the way of something. I thought for sure Dustin Ping may have tagged the back of Dalton Kilroy, but he backed out the last second.
Yeah, I kind of have to respect Dustin Ping. I mean, after the last season and early in this season, I kind of was talking a lot, maybe a bit of ragging, right, about on how Dustin kind of lucked his way into the championship last season. And I mean, some drivers could argue Ping probably shouldn't have even made it to the Final Four last season, right? I mean, he got to the Final Four when Nick Nickerson, a fellow round of 8 competitor, ended up missing 1 week. And that 1 week, despite a driver that had dominated the season, over 5 wins, that one race being missed in the playoffs cost him a chance to fight in the Final Four, and that allowed Dustin Ping to get in there. Then he got that championship after he was already a lap down with a crash with only about 20 laps to go. Some people might call that a Mickey Mouse championship, right? But I think Dustin Ping has set out on a mission this season to prove that sentiment wrong. He has really stepped up the pace all of this season, and I think this time he is setting out to prove that he deserves that Final Four spot, and he's not lucking his way into it this season.
He's definitely racing hard. He's got around Connor Gibson. got around the 23 of Tanner Marr, so both those cars now pass, and he's now up here in the P7. He is quickly moving his way back through this field. Here we are, already more than 10% done. We're lap 20 of lap 150. Some good, solid racing. Remember how I said the drivers weren't attacking that dog leg? They keep getting more aggressive down there, Nolan. I think I saw the 41 adult Kiro get down there pretty hard earlier. We just saw Jaden Hopp getting down there. So as time goes on, I think the drivers are getting more confident with using that dog leg.
Battle for the lead. Benjamin Lacey kind of dooring Mark Arthur a little bit up in turn 2 last time by. Down to the 3 and 4. Arthur going to swing wide on the exit of turn 4. Lacey cuts down to the very inside of the racetrack, making it all the use of the dog leg to keep himself alongside Arthur. Up the track! He's going to get into Mark Arthur a bit there in 1.
Whew. Wow, that was close. Super, super close. And by the way, this is one of the racetracks where I think it's most valuable to have a real-life spotter. You and I talk about it a lot at Super Speedway. So watch this here. Because when Ben Lacey's all the way down here, Mark Arthur has no idea how much space is between them. Even put up here, and there's a bit of contact. Notice the way that car wiggled. But I think this is the most important track on the oval side, Nolan, to have a spotter, because when a car's up high, down low like those two were, all you're going to hear from the Iverson spotter is, car low, car high. You have no idea how much gap is between you two, and that matters a lot in the kind of moves you make. So live spotters really do make a big difference here if you can get one at Phoenix Raceway.
Critically, though, in the real world, spotting at this racetrack is one of those difficult tracks to spot at, because typically a spotter standpoint, it's off the front straightaway, so you get a pretty perfect view all around the racetrack. Not here. The spotter stand is up in turn 3, up on the top of the grandstands. That makes this track extremely difficult to spot for, because for over half the lap, the cars are coming at you, and your depth perception is thrown off a little bit.
Yeah, it is very difficult to see some of those spots and some of the, especially the, down in the dog leg. I have to imagine one of the most difficult parts of spotting this place is remember what corner we're in. It sounds weird to say, but we've changed the layout of this track a couple times. Now turn 1 is turn 3. Now turn 2 is turn 4. The front straight's the back straight, and it's just all over the place. So I imagine that's one of the challenges of spotting here as well. There's Ty Marasco, trying to see if he can make his way into the playoffs. He's trying to get up under Connor Gibson. This is one of the tracks here, by the way. I think we're going to see him most of the day, by the way, because of how the banking works and how turn 4 works. Typically, the car on the outside out of a corner has the advantage, and that's not something you and I get to talk about a whole lot. Watch this here again. This would be a good example of Ben Lacey and Mark Arthur coming down the track here, because Mark Arthur is going to get a better run off of this corner. He's going to get to go up the bank, put the throttle up the center, and he will win that battle off of that corner almost every time. That feels different from you and I call races. Typically, we think the guy on the inside coming to the line has the advantage.
A little bit of contact again between the ones, twice, don't turn him! Oh boy, he's getting elbows out for the lead right now, and that is allowing, guess who? Jaden Hopp running down the top 2, and he's got a front row seat to the slugfest.
Don't think this is going to get involved in the slugfest. The worst part for Jaden Hopp would be if something does happen here, and as the cars go spinning around or backwards, he finds one of them. So he's got to keep up on his alerts here and make sure he knows what's going on at all times ahead of him. But watch the wheel input here for Jaden Hopp. Let's see what we find. Look at that glare. Let's talk about that first. You mentioned that earlier about an hour ago now for the Dustin Ping wreck, how no one saw it because of the glare. Well, it's still there, and it's brutal down the back straight here at this track. So now watch from Jaden Hopp here, though. Watch the wheel input. That's pretty calm wheel input, Nolan. That makes me think that he's having a pretty happy day inside that race car. You don't see a whole lot of seesawing of that wheel.
No, he's in complete control of his race car right now. He loves what he's been doing with his racetrack so far, and he's biding his time, right? He's taking his time. He's letting these two burn their tires up ahead. Oh, no! Trouble! Look down the top 2! Sideways! Still pedaling it! They're both going to save it out of the dog leg! But big dramas for the lead! D sweeps through, picks up the podium position, and now almost 3 wide with Kilrow.
Wow. Jaden Hopp, I think, lifted there wisely to let the wreck not be involved in the wreck and unfortunately give up the lead in the process. So now Ben Lacey has about a 1.25 seconds of lap time ahead of the rest of the field. It's Hop, D's, and others behind. Watch this move here. Let's see, there's going to be Lacey coming up the track. Oh, and that's maybe coming together. Mark Arthur definitely came down the track. And watch the save here from Mark Arthur in the back. Got it up. And,
I think Arthur was aiming for the dog leg and didn't expect for Lacey to cut it.
I don't know. You look at that angle, though. That was the one I thought was going to be your best piece of evidence, because I thought you were right, but that wheel barely moved to the left. So I'm unsure what is going on. But apologies between Ben and Mark is already happened. But look at the save, by the way. That's a great job by Mark Arthur, keeping his composure. Doesn't even hit the wall. Like, how do you do that?
I think a lot of drivers this season have seen that we're tracking some of the best saves of the months now, and they've been trying to get on that list these last few weeks, it's felt.
That's a good way to do it right there. That's a solid one. Pretty solid. Here we go. Now here's a race for two playoff drivers. There's Dalton Kilroy on the outside, Dustin Ping on the inside. These two drivers having a good race. They're right behind Kevin Foster here. Foster, by the way, was one of the drivers really kind of adamant talking to race control about getting this race restarted. Kevin Foster was one of the biggest people who really had the most damage in that official race start. So Kevin Foster was really one of the people campaigning for a fair start. God, now here's 3 playoff drivers. There's Marasco involved now. Marasco to the outside of Dustin Ping, trying to make the power move on the outside.
And he's going to do just that. Ty Marasco up 10 on the day, second only to Jaden Hop, who had to fight his way to the front of the field, all the way from about 15th on the grid. So Tanner Marr and Dustin Ping going to exchange blows. Ping sweeps through to take another one. Third on back. You could, I think a blank would be a bit generous. You could, trying to think here. Well, I can't.
Maybe? Yeah, I don't know.
You could. Yeah, a tarp would work. Tarp canopy, maybe?
Yeah, canopy would be better. Yep. By the way, for those wondering, Nolan mentioned that it's Hop and Marasco were the biggest plus on the day. That's because since Dustin Ping served his EO after the race started, technically according to race stats, he has not passed all these people. He is, I think, -2 on the day. He is, in fact. So although we've seen him come from the back of the field to where he is now, sitting in P8, from race stats, they're going to credit him as starting P6. So that's why he's not being mentioned as one of the biggest movers of the day, because technically he started on the grid as 6th and served his penalty for the incidents about an hour ago.
Ryan Dees and Kevin Foster go side by side of the 1 and 2. Marasco and Kilroy both double file as they'll start to sweep up the track. Already, we're almost at lap 40 in this one. I mean, the laps are just flying by this afternoon as Foster takes one down the inside, tracks up nearly into Kilroy.
Yeah, I mean, all things considered, it has been a completely green flag race so far, and here we are almost, a little more than a quarter of the way through the race here. So having some great runs. Foster getting really close to Marasco. It feels like for how clean this race has been, it's not been for a lack of effort in some ways. It's these drivers are racing hard, but there's Kevin Foster way up top. You can't do that. You'll lose a lot of speed up there, and you saw how he kind of got behind Ping and Kilroy. That may have been on purpose. I said again, a lot of drivers out here today were nervous about kind of messing up the playoffs. They're nervous about messing up that Final Four. So they're going to move aside if they think they're not competitive.
Now, the league admins did mention in the big public announcement earlier today, they had said, hey, we understand some drivers might be very iffy about showing up tonight because they don't want to get involved with the playoff contenders. They were encouraging people to show up tonight regardless because they still want to have a good race at the end of the day.
Well, not just that, but you need cars because right now some of the scenarios we talked about, such as we talked about Brian Dees needed to make up all those points. There's a car in the pit road. That's early, I think.
That would be Ashmore coming down, and he's taken 4 and damage repair, so he's slapped the wall somewhere.
Yeah, must have. So you need cars where I was going, but so we're talking about Brian Dees needing to make up all these points on the cars ahead of him. every spot in this race matters. So if you have a race, let's say of 10 cars, almost no one's going to make up points, right? It's the more cars on track, the bigger the point gap could be to really have these playoff contention scenarios. And that makes it exciting for everyone involved, I think, a little bit. Here's Dalton Kilroy still riding the outside, by the way. Up here with Brian Dees. Man, Brian Dees was up in P2 at one point. Kind of falling back a little bit here. He had fallen back before the contact with Lacey and Arthur. So I think maybe he just kind of burned up some equipment and he's going to have a harder time here.
So, little anecdote actually from my drag racing days from last year. And I'll redact names because this was technically closed door meeting, right? But it was during our door slammers category. We had one driver that had shown up. He had paid to enter the door slammers field, and all of a sudden he came out to the tower when the door slammers rep was confirming the elimination ladder and said, "Hey, take me off the ladder." And all I wanted to do was go on a test today. I don't want to race these guys. And the door slammer rep said, "No. You paid to get in, you ran all 4 qualifying sessions, you're getting that car on the line and you're racing today, because if you bow out now, that's not fair to the 30 other competitors that are going to be out there racing, and that's going to screw the points up, right?" And that's where the points fall is in so big. You want to have as many consistent drivers as you can so that playoff drivers, especially those that need the points, still have a fair shot to get in.
Also, and the second part of that, too, is you want to keep drivers come here and build confidence in their abilities, right? And if you say, hey, listen, you're not a playoff driver, don't get out here and affect things, you're kind of, in a way, not encouraging people to build that confidence to come race and to race clean and race hard and race fair. So by doing that, you're saying, hey, guys, listen, it's okay. Come race. We trust you. You're part of this league for a reason. And hopefully nothing happens. Man, Brian D's still falling back. Here's now another car to the inside of D's here. That's going to be Tanner Marr in the 23. They're racing hard out of turn 2. See, I still can't do it. I still want to call that turn 4.
Oh, no kidding, right? I mean, the start finish, let's be real. I think you and I, we have our disagreements over modern NASCAR thing. I think we both agree, though, start finish line needs to be where the backstretch is right now. It's just better there.
So the only thing I mean, I don't mind where it is now in the dogleg, or coming to the dogleg, I guess, where it is located. The only thing I disliked about it being on what is now the back straight is if you had a restart where someone was being aggressive and they would spin their tires, or they kind of wobbled the restart a little bit, that was just like a closed lane at that point. No one was going to get by. It was going to be a big wreck on the restart. And I've seen that multiple times in Phoenix, both in sim and in real life. So that's my only kind of argument for the start finish line moving, is that it does make it a bit more of a nicer restart. If something happens over there by the dog lead, there's much more space to kind of spread out and avoid whatever happens. Imagine that Dustin Pink thing had happened, and that was where the start finish line was. That would have been worse than it was.
Now, you can have the same argument, though, the other way, though, right? About how it actually makes restarts more inherently unfair as well, because the Geico restart zone is in a curved section of the backstretch, that outside lane is never going to be able to get a good jump on the inside line. Inside is always going to get away. And that inherently, the way it's built, especially if you get a late race yellow, and how many times have we seen this on iRacing, right? That can lead to major caution strings, which is something that Bristol, it's something that Martin's, in fact, it's something that most short tracks have to contend with as well.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're exactly right. But for the back rate, it's purely just about the lack of space. It's the lack of width, if you will. That would make it treacherous. So I think from a spectator standpoint, I think allowing the fans to see more on the front straight, I'm okay with it. By the way, I don't know if we're going to see it in this race because we're pretty green so far. One of my favorite things about this track they've done in the upgrade, though, is that starter stand, that cactus that lights up when we're under caution. That kind of helps you figure it out. I guess second to Texas where the light poles light up. Well, here the cactus turns yellow under caution.
In fact, if you take a look right side of your screen, you can see it right where the flag stand is. And yeah, as you pass it by, one of those things that very unique to Texas, or to Phoenix. And I do like that about this place as well. We got 2 cars at the pit road. It's Ping and D's.
Yep, Ping and D's both coming down here. Both going to make that trip down pit road. That was still Ashmore still over there getting damage fixed. So not sure what happened to him, but that's a long pit stop. In fact, he's now clocked in and over almost 6 minutes on his pit stop. And here's Dees, here's Ping though. Now this is basically breaking this race into thirds, pardon me. So that's what they're going to go for here. There's 70% tanks of fuel, so you can't go forever. And I like this. You know, Connor Gibson's going to come back. I don't want to call myself OCD, but I like symmetrical things. I like even numbers. I like being predictable. And so why I like this, Nolan, is if the car drove a certain way in the first 50 laps and you liked how it drove, in theory, it should drive the second 50 and the third 50 of that race.
Well, I like the idea because it gets them on fresh tires. If you try to run these tanks out dry, you're probably going to end up having to only take a splash and go. This way, you can be on relatively even tires and still be on fresh rubber for more of the race and potentially make more up on the racetrack. Here comes Benjamin Lacey now down a pit road. Kevin Foster is going to do the same.
My guess is after seeing Dees and Ping do it, this will become a case for some drivers of kind of a monkey see, monkey do scenario. Once that floodgate opens the first time, it's easier for other people to justify doing it because, well, they already did it. So, you know, I'm not the only person making that decision in this moment. So I suspect as a few laps go on here, we'll see. Now, I think we'll see a couple drivers also push the limit here and see what they can get out of it. See if they can make it last long there. But there's Arthur down pit road, our former leader. So slowly, little by little, people are crawling their way down this long pit road here. By the way, 45 miles an hour is how slow this pit road is. You're going to go from racing pretty hard, you know, 150, 160, 170 miles an hour down to 45.
That glare with the pit entry is so risky to try it. I think that's why we haven't been seeing too many people really pushing the limit on the entry on what you can do because you can barely see where the speed limit code is.
Yeah, that is very, very true. So now we see a couple more cars coming down pit road here. So right now, only a couple of drivers have not pitted. Marasco and Scott Shire, John Osborne, Canfield, and Bob Berry, I believe, are the last cars to have not pitted. So it's going to quickly become a full cycle. Everyone's going to pit right around lap 50. Oh, trouble! Yellow's out. Who's that? That is the 8. Yeah, that's Kevin Foster. Well, that's going to change a couple things here as far as who pits where, and let's see what happens to Foster.
Self-inflicted, just spun
got
the tires
really
up in
loose
4.
there.
I
He's
think
gonna loop it around here.
Yeah, I think he was kind of tracking loose and just never really let the car. No.
Got the dog leg.
Hardware maybe? Again?
And that car comes to a full spin. He moved later, so I don't know what happened to Kevin Foster.
So,
well,
watch for the glare here out of the windshield. Under caution, you can still get the same effect, right? But glare is right there. Tell me where you can spot the cones, because I can't.
You can't. Right. Better see it on the right. But Kevin Foster said his screen went blank, and he just kind of parked the car.
Ah. Wise move.
I'm surprised that was a caution over the racing line. But hey, listen.
Cautions at Phoenix have always been weird because of that dog leg.
Are you and I just like bad? Like, so, okay. We talked about this under the delay. Are we just bad luck? Like, twice yesterday under the Cyber 500, which was here live on Green Flag TV, we had issues under yellow with cars hitting one another. We had the weird start tonight. Now we have a car here with hardware issues stopping in the middle of the track and kind of causing a yellow. This has been a weird 36 hours for us, hasn't it?
I'm kidding. One thing I do want to give Foster credit to, he had a pretty good system there figuring out when he was on the apron, because he noticed how he kept his speed up even when his screen, because he knew he was in a corner when his screen went black, right? That's why I got a little bit loose probably, was because I caught him off guard. But when he was going through the corner, he kept that wheel turned the same direction, and he knew when he was on the apron because he could hear the car bottoming out on the transition, and he didn't hit the brakes until after he heard that bump.
And not just hear it, you can feel that in your force feedback. When you go from that banking to the lack of banking, basically, you'll feel it. You'll feel the jolt in your wheel.
Very
for
clever.
The force feedback. So,
very clever driving there. I have to give Foster a lot of props for that.
Well, what this is going to do, Nolan, this is going to kind of be a weird cycle. This is going to put Ty Marasco and Sean Williams up to front because everyone who'd already pitted, they're going to get their lap back. But they're going to be at the end of the lead lap.
And Bob Berry maybe as well. What's going on here? Bob, you didn't get the wave run. You're on the lead lap already. What are you doing? Get back in line. By the way, I think I figured out why that caution came out. The yellow flag does account for the dog leg. I think it was far enough along, because he was right by pit exit when that happened, that counted as part of the dog leg now.
By the way, other thing to talk about, we'll come back to that. Look at this, because everyone's a wave around. Is there 1 car, 2 cars?
3
cars on the outside? We can't be going green here. Look at all the gaps in that line. We're not going, oh my gosh. Guys, catch up.
We are going green.
Wow.
They more or less got there.
Yeah, I guess so.
3 wide, Jaden Hopp to the inside of Lacey and Shire. Jaden Hopp gets through, and Shire's caught up top. Sean Williams tracking to the back of Ty Marasco's MFRD number 1. The Camaro in pretty good lockstep further down the field as Williams tries to get sorted. Oh, gives a little bit of a nudge there to the back of Ty Marasco.
Wait, what a story this would be right now. Marasco is in first. Shire's in 7th. Not that it's going to, but the race ended now. This, I'm pretty sure, would put Ty Marasco into the playoffs. And for a driver who kind of, really kind of stuck his way into this round after having a start and park and some other problems, wouldn't it be kind of a weird story if he somehow kind of got his way in again after a weird yellow? But right now he's in. It's first for him, 8th for Shire. This would put Ty Marasco into the playoffs.
Sure would. Ty Marasco needing good fortunes this afternoon. Marasco so far has not made it to the round of 4 in any season of high time racing competition, trying to maybe make this season his first. Sean Williams going around the outside of Marasco, seeing if he can't pick off the line. No dice into turn number 3.
Not sure if Sean Williams is interested in being that aggressive. Williams came into this race locked in. He's here just kind of racing. This, he's guaranteed a spot in the final 4 next week. Because I'm surprised in a way that Marasco, being the car in the bottom, kind of powered his way past Williams there. But now Marasco's here. Ooh, look at that glare with the fence poles kind of getting in the way. That's vicious. That is frustrating as a driver when it just kind of blinks at you for no good reason. And now both drivers up to the top of the hill. And they seem content to ride here. They want to see if they can maybe pull away from Hop and the others. But Hop, oh my gosh, is aggressive getting around Bob Berry.
Jaden Hopp finds another podium this afternoon as he is now set to track down the top 2. Now Williams looks to the inside, sends it down the inside of Ty Marasco up at a turn numbers 3 and 4. Working to the front straightaway. Does he have the move to make something on Marasco into turn number 1? He's still looking low, and he's going to get the nose in.
Trying really hard to get down there. And again, as I said, out of these corners, because of the way the banking works in Phoenix, the driver on the outside, especially out of 4, typically has the advantage as you get up on the gas pedal a little faster and gain more speed out of the corners. But I was thinking in the back of my head, this is probably a friendlier time at P3 than what it was earlier for Jaden Hopp when Arthur and it was having that big battle with Benjamin Lacey and all the bumping and the rubbing and the scratching and what have you. So Hop has to get, hey, this looks a bit more comfortable.
So at what point do we break out the MMA rules, right? No blows below the belt, no eye poking, no scratching, no biting. Keep the gloves on.
So I'm saying no 12-6 elbows, but that's now actually legal in most states here in America, so.
No 12, I don't know what that means. I'm not that in tune with boxing.
A 12-6 elbow basically means you can't stand, if you were standing in front of your face, you can't bring your elbow up and look at a clock, basically 12 to 6. You can't just slam your elbow down on the top of someone's head, basically. What a 12-6 elbow is.
Okay, interesting.
So you learn something new every time we work together, don't you?
I do. Boxing was not on my bingo sheet today, but I got a Phoenix fact. with the fast track racing fun fact that you had earlier.
I'll go for it.
Well, no, that you told me that this track was at one point called Fast Track Raceway.
Yeah, at one point back in, I think, the 70s, for 2 or 3 years, it was called Fast Track Raceway. The day of Jeff Gordon's last NASCAR race full-time, they renamed the place for one day to Jeff Gordon Raceway, so it's had a few different names. Remember that little, I'll say, kind of odd or failed experiment for ISM Speedway for a couple years? That didn't go anywhere. So this place has been named a few different things. It had a few different configurations. It's had some remodels, some walls taken out, some different things that happened to it. There's Michael Ashmore back down pit road, by the way. He is down here again. He was down here for a long time the first time. He is pitting again. Yep. He's not having a good day. Remember, Michael Ashmore was possibly the biggest proponent of restarting this race, and he had a clean race car when we ended the first race. He might be wishing he could turn back time.
Probably, right? It would have, might have done it some good, but who knows, right? I mean, we can deal in what ifs all we want, but the drivers are focusing what's on the present in front of them right now, and right now, Canfield's present is that Scott Shire is making his way to the inside of him. He's going to pick off a spot coming down to turn number 3. 1.
That puts him back in the P8, but still 7 spots between himself and Ty Marasco, so I'm sure Scott Shire knows what's at stake here. He knows he has to pick up a couple more spots. He needs to get around Bob Berry. He needs to get around Dalton Kilroe. Maybe even Benjamin Lacey to feel safe. So, maybe have a good student hop. I said no one's attacking the dog leg. That's about as big of an attack as you can give the dog leg, short of kissing the wall on the inside right there. That black and pink car of Jaden Hopp is being aggressive.
Well, that aggression gets him to the second place spot, so we'll watch as he tries to run down the leaders. And in fact, Osborne also attacking Sean Williams. Look at John Osborne trying to sling one down the inside to go into third. Osborne hasn't been on the podium one of these races in a good long while, and wouldn't that be something for the Valvoline number 5 to finally get a podium after being knocked out of the playoffs?
Yeah, that would be great to have that happen for Benjamin Lacey, to have a strong run here. He started off really strong. Led a few laps here, now back in P5, trying to get up here. And again, there's Arthur by the Barbie machine. He led up until the contact with Ben Lacey, so he wants to see if he can get back up here and lead some out. But this is the battle back here for P10, so he's got a lot of track to go here. Going to happen. Remember, a lot of these drivers are stuck back here, Nolan, because of that caution. A lot of these drivers would have been cycled back to the front had the yellow not come out, but that's not the case.
Halfway home this time by. It later than we thought we would be at the halfway mark, but hey, you know, it's the same better late than never. So 75 down, 75 to go at the stripe. While Canfield is still in the grudge match with Arthur, Tanner Marr, Nick Osipek is waiting in the wings. Dustin Ping is getting set to make his second charge to the field of the night.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes and if he can make it. There's a lot of close racing here. At some point, you kind of look to yourself like, boy, you know, 22 car field. When you say the number, it doesn't always sound big, but all the racing here, for being a track that's a mile long, all the banking and the corners and the dog leg, anywhere around this track right now, there's a battle going on somewhere. These guys are not letting up with one another by any means whatsoever. So here we are, we're now more than halfway through, by the way, of this race. Dustin Ping is trying to catch down Bob Berry. Dustin Ping, by the way, another driver who is trying to make sure he earns his playoff spot back up to P11. Let me check the math, but I'm pretty sure he's safe in P11.
I would imagine so. He had a pretty hefty gap on the rest of the field behind him. Same story for Sean Williams, right? I mean, they're 2 drivers that are pretty secure and not mathematically safe, but they don't need to push too hard for a win tonight to make themselves in.
Yeah, we'll see. So Dustin Ping came into tonight's 11 points to the good on Ty Marasco. So, I mean, that's close. He's probably safe for now, but if you're Dustin Ping, you definitely want to move forward and kind of don't put any kind of question in the hands of last-minute decisions. So, as Ty Marasco continues to lead here, but Jaden Hopp is now over his back bumper. And we've seen Hopp make some big moves tonight. Wonder how long it's before Jaden Hopp tries to get around Ty Marasco here. In fact, here it, nope. So here it came as he went to the inside of that corner. but he's changed his mind. Now he wants to go outside to pass Ty Marasco.
Trying to maybe set up a run, see if he's got something for him. Now slings one down the inside of turn number 0, the dog leg, and now through one. Downshifting into third, trying to get the acceleration working for him off turn 2 as we hit the back straightaway.
What Hop continues to do here, and if he can make up more time, right as time by, Hop was less than a 1/10 of a second faster, so everybody is faster. It's not by much. Let's watch the times this time by. Hop 0.58, Marasco a 0.561. So again, less than a 1/10 of a second. So Hop is barely creeping up here on Ty Marasco.
Pit stops only about 20 to 25 laps away as well. We saw them pitting right around the 1/3 mark. You expected the same right around the 2/3 mark, seeing as we did get a caution in the middle of our first pit stop cycle. Hop still looking low. John Osborne has slowly been dragged into the fight, and he's been pulling Benjamin Lacey with him. Lacey's been biding his time back here, letting Osborne pull him up to these two cars up the road. So Marasco and Hop both looking to try to contend for the race lead. And I think they're more focused on each other than on the closing Osborne.
Yeah, it does appear to be the case, doesn't it? They both really appear to be focusing on another. There's been Lacey up there in that battle again, so that's a really tight top 4. But there's something to note here, and I don't know where the damage came from. If we can get a back-end view of Connor Gibson. Connor Gibson was up front at the beginning of this race and battling hard. He now has some significant damage to the back end of that car, and he is running, I think, last on track at the moment. I mean, I don't know where that damage came from. I never saw it happen. Boy, that is some big damage to the back end of Connor Gibson. And for a driver who was once running up front being competitive, appears to be struggling.
From the looks of it, he might have had somebody go into the left rear of him and potentially send him for a ride. That would be the thing that would, I think, make the most sense to me, given how that's on the left rear. If he hit the wall, that'd be right rear damage.
Yeah, I didn't hear any complaints under caution. My typical, I think, thought would have been maybe someone, actually bumped into him under caution, but I didn't hear any complaints on the yellow flag about anyone making contact. But definitely some significant damage there for a former front runner in this race. Here's Brian Dees, by the way. This is the pass back here for P17. He's trying to make the pass at least on Kyle Wellman.
A lot of close dogfighting here from about 12th on down, but so far nobody that's really able to make the moves happen. I think tires started to fall away from a lot of drivers. A lot of people making some aggressive looks that there's just not a lot in it for them right now. Kevin Foster is going to get around Brian Dees. How Brian Dees has fallen, by the way. Remember, start of the restart was fighting for the top spots and now dropping all the way back to 18th.
Yeah, back here in this Hornets mess. Look at all the cars moving around, all the lanes being taken. 2 wide, almost 3 wide at some points. You're right, Dees having a very tough time here. Not sure exactly what happened to him, but as of right now, definitely 100% out of playoff contention is Brian Dees.
So Brian Dees is going to continue his strong momentum up the road. Tanner Marr pulling a slider on Scott Shire, bending him off as he's going to make his way down the back straightaway. And just a little ways behind them, Larry Bell making moves as well. We saw Larry Bell fighting. Oh, look out! Sings it in on Wellman, muscles the 42 of the racetrack, and now contact with Foster as well. Gloves being thrown this afternoon, but remember, just yesterday, Larry Bell fought for a win in the 2025 Cyber 500. Worked a lot with Dalton Kilwer in that race, just wasn't able to take the top spot.
Now, we saw a few high-tide racing members. Dustin Ping was in there, Larry Bell, Dalton Kilrow, some former members of High Tide was in there. So it was a great race to watch all throughout that run and see how it formed and who ended up winning and all that. Was a great race, a great experience to be a part of. But right now, it's Ty Marasco trying to win this race. He has Jaden Hop all over his back bumper. And again, Hop is just right on point in the times. I mean, there's really no difference here now. But now Hop has got Ben Lacey behind him. So the difference now is if Hop tries anything and it misses or fails, Ben Lacey will likely take over P2.
Yeah, this is pretty big right now for these guys deeper in the field. And, oh, how about this? 3 wide as well with Arthur, Marr, Williams. Yeah, that's going to get back to double. So aggression picking up around a lot of this racetrack. What do you think is bringing this new aggression about?
I think it's new aggression. I think it's just a matter of we're kind of seeing a couple of names up here who do have nothing to race for except to win, right? It's that there's nothing to lose here. It's all game for Hop, for Lacey, for Osborne. In fact, I mean, it really is all gain, no lose for Ty Marasco, because he has to win this thing basically to make that playoff run. So these guys are racing hard. They all want to be up here. Oh my gosh, all want to be in it. And Ben Lacey, I thought for sure was going to cut off the back end of Jaden Hop, but all is good here, working lap 92.
Look at that sharp cut to the inside that Jaden Hop makes, trying to close in on the back of Ty Marasco. That's going to unintentionally send him deep into turn number 2 as well, as he couldn't hold the bottom of the racetrack. Hop, diamond off the corner. Oh, Marasco maybe a little bit loose on entry. You can see a lot more tire trash, by the way, entering turn 3 as drivers, I think, are really pushing the limits. And now side by side for the lead down to 1.
Hop's now going to try to dive it in there on that dog ring, come up, and if that's not contact, I don't know how. Boy, oh boy. That black and pink machine went for it there. That's the biggest sin you and I've seen all day from anyone at this racetrack. And I think the other thing is kind of leading to our quote-unquote idea of aggression is that we're just seeing some new names up front we've not seen in a while, and that yellow flag cycle really is causing that. A lot of our, our more familiar names, Dalton Kilroe, Dustin Ping, Brian Dees, are all sort of cycled back here just because of how that caution fell. So we're seeing some new names up here who maybe have some new confidence because of that. But they are racing hard here in this moment. They are all out going for it in this moment. Like you're right. Dalton Kilroe said, come out and race. Don't worry about messing with the playoffs. Well, that's what they're doing.
Only about 10 laps to go before we get our second run of green flag pit stops as well. Now, if you are Jaden Hop, are we thinking undercut strategy potentially?
You could be thinking that, yeah. So I was trying to figure it out. I mean, Hop it's hard to say what happened last pit cycle, because I mean, Hop it got cut off by the yellow flag. But if I was Jaden Hop, I probably would, I don't know what I would do. I would probably stay as long as I could. I would let Marasco pit first, see if I could get some clean racetrack. I actually kind of believe in clean racetrack that Jaden Hop is probably a little faster than Ty Marasco, since he didn't have that clean racetrack. He's got a car in front of him. So if I was Hop, I would let Marasco pit first. I would see if I could get a couple good clean laps in and see if I could gain some time here.
So you're thinking overcut then?
I would overcut it, I think. Yeah, I always like overcutting. I like the one to kind of know when I need to pit and what have you. So I often think the people who are first to pit, I don't know. It does work. It's not that it doesn't work, but I do. I'm typically a fan of overcutting versus undercutting. But here, speaking of undercutting, there's Ben Lacey. He's going to undercut that corner, and he's going to keep Jaden Hop honest, and that would be good news for Ty Marasco. That would create a small gap there between first and second.
Yeah, that has just bought Ty Marasco for some much-needed breathing room. It's not going to last long, though. Lacey sweeps up the track over in turn number 3, turn numbers 1 and 2. Now going to work to the back straight away as Lacey fends off John Osborne. Osborne still waiting in the wings. Dalton Kilroe has been slowly entering the picture more and more as well. And in fact, he's been taking a few cars in there, and you can technically call this more like a 7-car train now and not just the 4-car breakaway we once had.
Yeah, that's what's happening. These guys keep racing hard. They're going to hold one another up, and they're going to let more cars into this battle. But as you said, next 5 laps or so, we should see our next round of pit stops occurring. Everyone pitted somewhere between 50 and 55 who pitted under green. Now, what I would think in my head is if I was Ty Marasco and I was fighting for a playoff spot, you might have a hard time convincing me to pit here under green, right? Because, hey, he stayed out last time and it worked. Who says it doesn't work again if he stays out and kind of inherits the lead again? So if I was Ty Marasco, I might kind of wait and see how the first round of pit stops goes, and if someone makes a mistake and the kind of all the what ifs, get out of the way here. So far, no calls across the radio for pit stops occurring, so looks like everyone's going to stay on track for the most part here as we begin lap 101.
Oh, Hobbs sends a missile down the inside of Orozco. Somehow kept it on the bottom of the racetrack, forced to back out. Whoa, and now Lacey gets a bit crossed up, but he's going to use that momentum to his advantage. Pretty easily takes away second. I think Pop let him have it.
I'm not sure if Pop let him have it, or yeah, I mean, something happened there. He quickly got around him. That was pretty impressive how fast he did that.
I wonder if maybe he's gambling on Lacey getting up to Marasco and slowing him down so he can try to go for the snipe.
Or is Hop trying to play with the throttle for fuel? I don't know. Speaking of fuel, here's Connor Gibson down. He'll take gas and tires, and he'll be the first person under the cycle that I can see come down in pits.
Well, Lacey is looking for the inside on Ty Marasco, not able to get there this time by. One driver that is able to make his mark is Mark Arthur. Gets around Dalton Kilrow pretty convincingly as well, and put Arthur now up to 5th.
Yeah, remember Mark led this race when we started, had that contact with Ben Lacey, had an incredible save. Now he's trying to drive his way back through. Almost got tapped again by Dalton Kilrow in that same spot on the car. But everyone walked away pretty fine there. There's Larry Bell down pit road. So it appears as if now Dustin Ping's down there. So pit stops have begun, possibly for the final time here at Phoenix.
Oh boy, Lacey. Lacey just used the apron to a new level. Watch this attempt here down to turn number 1. This is insane. I mean, there's using the apron and there's using the apron.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. That's insane to see how that worked for you and how it can happen. And sometimes it works for you, sometimes it doesn't. And you hinted earlier, luckily these guys are driving in the Xfinity cars. The current Gen 7, or some people call them next gens, they bottom out down there. And it's harder to drive those cars down and keep them under control. So luckily for Ben Lacey, that's not the car we're driving. But here, look, he's still over the back in the Ty Marasco. He is just riding hard here. And lap by lap, still, he's less than half a tenth faster than Ty Marasco. So he is faster. Oh, Marasco. So I'm scrub the wall there. So that smoke puff up. Wow, wow, wow.
Usually I dread Phoenix races whenever we go here as a broadcaster. Oftentimes they end up being a complete caution fest well into the double digits. This has got to be one of the best Phoenix races I have seen in years on iRacing. This is absolutely fantastic right now as Lacey takes the inside of Orozco and this time might have the lead.
Yeah, finally he's going to get him here. And Orozco going to undercut him.
He's going to try.
Tried.
That's actually the point under fire from Hobb.
Third? Wow. Both Hop and Orozco kind of had a mistake. You saw Hop scrub the wall up top. You saw smoke kicked up off the wall. A little bit of tire rub. And then you saw Orozco kind of bobble the car in the bottom. So luckily for each of them, the other one made a mistake. But here now is Lacey, Hop, and Orozco, your top 3 as a working lap on the race.
Well, all this is going on. You have had more drivers coming down to pit road, and one of them is actually Benjamin Lacey this time by. Lacey has hit pit road, so is Tanner Marr, and Jaden Hobb takes over the race lead for the first time officially tonight. Connor Gibson about to unlap himself.
It's another time Jaden Hobb hit the wall here. It's pretty close up there.
So Foster, Lacey, Marr, all to the pit row. Pit window is very much open, and this will be the pit stops that will take them to the end of this race. There is not going to be a fuel mileage game tonight. Because you're taking 4 tires at the stop, right? That's a guarantee. You're just going straight to the end from here.
Well, you are if you're cutting right there. Yes, 100%. What's in my mind right now is if you're Jaden Hopp, if you're Ty Marasco, and you're going to run this thing dry, the question becomes, how many more laps can you get out of this car? Because there's a certain point of pitting where, let's say, I'm picking a random number, let's say if you don't pit till lap 125, for example, and only 25 laps of racing left, you don't need all that fuel, therefore can you justify sitting there and waiting on all 4 tires? I don't know. that'll be the question we need to answer here as time rolls on. But if you're Mark Arthur pitting that 48 machine, the 33 machine, any of these cars right here, the 94, you're going to take tires. And the people who I think may not take tires are the drivers who are going to try to run it dry, which is Marasco. There's Jaden Hopp, by the way, now coming down. So it's Marasco, Dalton Kilrow, I think, hasn't come down yet. John Osborne, Scott Shire, and Sean Williams, and Nick Osipek. Your top 6 have not pitted yet the second time.
Marasco coming around turn numbers 1 and 2. No signs of hitting pit road this time by. He will stay out for at least one more. So does Osborne, so does Kilrow. Bob Berry making his way. And by the way, shouldn't get too many more glare. Well, okay, maybe a little bit, but not too many more glare problems, as the glare is mostly behind the grandstands now. Yeah,
as the sun is setting here in virtual sim time, that will stop being a thing as this race goes on. But you tie Marasco, you got to think to yourself, hey, last time I stayed out and a caution happened and I benefited huge from it, so why would I not try it again? If you're Ty Marasco, you have to swing for the fences here. You have to have a big move in order to claim enough points to make the round of 4. So that's what he's doing right here. He's just going to hope that something happens and breaks his way. But right now, who knows? I mean, right now Scott Shire scored 4th. That's through the pit cycles. So wait and see where everyone kind of nets out here when all is said and done for Ty Marasco.
A quick refresher. Sorry to cut you off as well, as Marasco will come to pit road now. But quick refresher for those that haven't been tuning in for the last for the start of this broadcast. But Marasco enters this this race with a 5-point deficit to get into the round of 4. So he needs to make 6 points on Scott Shire if he wants to get in. That equates to 6 positions on the racetrack, unless he takes the win, in which case I think he would only need 2 or 3 positions to take that one with the bonus points to get from a win. But Marasco, as he's in pit road now, has had fairly convincingly more than 6 spots on Shire most of this race.
Yeah, I mean, it's been close. It's been 7-8 at some points, but we'll wait and see here. Again, Marasco benefited from that caution right around lap 58. So he kind of was able to cycle to the front, had some cars have to fall in the back. So this will be the first real test, I think, for Ty Marasco. Heading late is how does that undercut work for him? Let's see where he's going to cycle out here. Currently, it looks like he's going to cycle out 5th or 6th right now on the track. Have a little bit newer tires. Let's see what he can do with them.
And right now, that is it for pit stops for the night. All drivers have come down to pit road for their second stops. So your order, Lacey leads the way from Hop, and then Ping is back there as well in the battle for 3rd with Tanner Marr, Dalton Kilrow, Mark Arthur, Ty Marasco all in the fray.
Right now, you said it needs to be 6 spots between Marasco and Shire. Right now, it's 3. It's Marasco in 7th, Shire in 10th. So, and here's Dustin Ping, by the way. He's made his way back all the way around to the front. He's up in P4. Remember, Ping had the moments of unfortunate things happening about an hour and a half ago now. Hit the wall, caused the race to restart, do some damage to multiple drivers. Served an EOL because of it. All said and done, he's back to P4 here. About 35 laps to go.
Ty Marasco right now in a battle with Mark Arthur for the 6th place spot as well, and that is causing Marasco some headaches here in his bid to try and get back through the field, see if he can't maintain that momentum on Scott Shire. Right now, the way it pans out, I think Shire still beats Marasco here. Although we'll obviously have to wait and see. Marasco did just put down his personal best lap of the race so far, so not looking like that's going to be any concern yet. Up front, Jaden Hogg running on 3-lap pressure tires, then Benjamin Lacey closing in for the lead.
Things have really changed here in this long run. This is only, of course, the one caution so far in this race, and now we're onto a very, very long run here. And I think we're kind of now seeing who is and is not a star at this track. And I think every driver has a track they're good at, a track they're not good at. And right now for Ben Lacey, this appears to be a track he is just excelling at. Remember, he started this race up front, had that incredible battle with Mark Arthur, fell back a little bit, but here we are now. He's back up front, holding off Jaden Hopp, and also trying to get around David Lakey.
Hop looking for the inside. Lacey being held up a bit by David Lakey. Lakey racing to stay on the lead lap. I think Lakey realizes that if he goes a lap down, his championship is effectively over. And Jaden Hop cuts to the inside. He's got the inside. 3 wide down in the turn number 1 in the scrap for the lead as Lakey's up high, and Hop looking like should be able to take that spot down low.
This is dangerous territory. I mean, for Lakey right there to be 3 wide. I mean, as you said, being a lap down. Right now he's in the lucky dog spot, so who knows what could or could not happen. But when you're 3 wide with 2 cars who have nothing to lose in this point in the season, you got to be a little nervous up there, right? Especially with how wide the dog leg is and how people come back off of it. You're just kind of holding your breath and hoping you can find your way out of that 3 wide scenario he has for the moment. But now it's Hop trying to find his way to the front, see if he can lead his first laps of the night.
Jaden Hop takes that move down low, trying to send something into turn 3. Can he pull up and clear across the nose of the number 7? Making all the use out of the dogleg as is physically possible. Not going to take the apron at 1 and 2 yet. Pulls the inside. Lacey taking the double apex line, trying to dime it off the corner, but this time it's a drag race down the back chute.
And well, I said Ben Lacey's doing great at this track, but isn't Jaden Hop? I mean, he's been up here all night long as well, just battling hard, being contention, being side by side, making his presence felt. And doing a pretty good job. He's got really great at cutting that dog leg. He's making up time. Here he goes down to the inside of 1 and 2. Trying again, but again, that outside lane is so dominant. It's hard to think anyone's going to make a pass on the inside like that.
I know, right? I mean, that inside line, there's just been nothing that these guys have been able to do about it all night long. I mean, it's been a good attacking line and a good line to try to burn somebody's tires up, but just has not been the line to go for a move. And that's what makes Phoenix Raceway so difficult, right? Because you can only really attack the inside. I mean, good luck trying to set up a move to pass around the outside here.
Yeah, that's what I'm surprised. I thought Hop would have been up there trying to attack the top by now, but he's not. But now they got Connor Gibson up here. They need to get by first. What? Oh, boy, and Hop keeps scrubbing that wall. I wonder if he's inherently kind of just either mess with the handling or the speed of that car with how many times he scrubbed the wall like that. Come back to that in a moment here. But what I think Hop is going to have to do here is kind of use a lapped car such as Gibson as sort of a moving pick. Right? And he's got to just kind of maybe see behind the car and then kind of pinch him down there to see if he can make the pass. But Hop keeps trying to dig the inside, keeps trying to abuse that dog leg. Is not going to work. I mean, it's short of a Hail Mary throw, maybe a little bit of contact. He's going to have the better run every time.
Tell you what, there was a message being sent there. We know about a lot of the aggression that Connor Gibson's had the last little while. Lacey's been on the receiving end of that. He gave the bumper a lap ago to get him out of the way. That was a message saying, you either move out of my way or I'm moving you out of the way. And from how Gibson pulled to the inside, I think message received loud and clear.
I think that would be a fair statement to say, yep, I got it. Like, I hear you. I mean, Hop has had a great run here in the second half of the High Tide Racing League season. You and I have both talked about how if he comes back next season, which he plans to do, how he will likely be a driver, in contention for the playoff run. Assuming they do, there are hints maybe there'll be a car change for next season of the High Tide Racing League. Assuming he can adapt to the new car as well as he's adapted here, you have to think Jaden Hop is going to be a superstar in the future.
And obviously, we'll get more details on that as we receive them with the future of this league. Planning to take roughly a 1-month break, so it should be on for most of March. Might return either to the end of March or to April. By the way, Hop has successfully taken the lead, but now Lacey throwing it back to the inside. But now Hop's got the ball on top, and look at how easy he made that look as he pulled the high lane off of turn number 4.
Yeah, he finally did make it work. I'm a little surprised by it, but a little bit of patience, or actually a lot of patience on his part. And finally, time by time, he just kind of kept using those big cuts into that dog leg and the shorter lane around. And he has found the lead here with 21 to go.
Battle for the number 7 spot. Mark Arthur, John Osborne. Right ahead of them is Bob Berry. Bob Berry is a lap down, so quite a bit of lap traffic right now in the mix of your fight here for the 7th place spot. Arthur, Osborne, Shire, all looking to make moves at it. As to the inside goes Mark Arthur, and he'll start to drive away from Osborne.
Jim, I have to say here, I mean, we're at 19 to go. We're over 131 laps into this race, Nolan. And again, there's battles everywhere. It's not a race where people have spread out and it's kind of been quiet, one car runs, what have you. Everyone's battling for something here. It feels that way. Like, there's not very much space between these cars, and that's a good thing. That is a very much a praise of the quality of racing here in this league. There on your screen you see Mark Arthur. He's now up here trying to see if he can keep relevant here and keep ahead of the number 5 machine. They're batting for 7 and 8.
A lot of people like to blame Phoenix for putting on like just poor racing. I think this race has shown it's not a track problem. It's either a person problem or a car problem. The Gen 7 inherently cannot race here to its full potential. At least not the way that NASCAR intended, because of the way it's designed, right? The bottoming out is terrible around here, and it causes caution fest that even the best of drivers cannot realistically anticipate every single time. These Xfinity cars don't have that problem, and they have put on one of the best shows we've ever seen at Phoenix on Green Flight TV.
I mean, that said, in defense of the current gen cars, Gen 7s, you have to say that dogleg you're cutting is not the racing line. So in a way, yes, it does bottom out, and yes, maybe it could be addressed, but hey, stop quick off the track and you won't bottom out. I understand that dogleg is quicker, and that's the advantage of cutting it. I get that's fast going all the way around the track, but they're also sort of cutting it off track, if you will, if we had a road racing term for a moment here.
I think.
All right.
So my counter to that, I've seen drivers that have bottomed out on that dog leg when they're above the apron as well. There's just like a divot there that they keep hitting every time.
Speaking of hitting, it's Ty Marasco hitting the ball right behind Dalton Kilrow. That's been a lot of that tonight. I know Jaden Hopple's guilty of it a few times. Ty Marasco scrubbed that wall a few times. Boy, Marasco, once you're new to this race, is now back in P5, only 4 spots ahead of Scott Shire. If you're Marasco, you have to be talking to people saying, hey, listen, can I please get by?
And especially since the car in front of him is his teammates.
Right, yes. Listen, you're locked in. Move. Oh my God. They both got the dog leg. I thought for sure Marasco was going to have a hard time there, but right now obviously the car ahead of them is David Lakey. He's a lap down. That's different, but I'm surprised in a way that Dalton Kilrow is not letting his teammate by to help him secure a playoff spot.
Well, remember, Kilrow is an HTRL administrator, right? I mean, team orders are already a big controversial talking point as it is on iRacing, but it kind of hits a new level when that team guy that's giving the orders is also an admin for the league, as Marasco takes one down the inside. It looks like he might have that spot a done deal. No, Kilrow's fighting it.
Yeah, Kilrow is fighting it. By the way, off screen of
catches
note,
the wall.
Connor Gibson has called it a night. So Connor Gibson will finish 21st on the grid tonight.
And now
I think finally Marasco has gotten that spot. I'm sure if Kilrow let him have it, or if Marasco now has the advantage by now fighting on the outside. Maybe.
This is one of those situations, right, where no matter what Kilrow does, he's going to anger somebody. It's either going to be his own teammate or it's going to be everyone else.
Yeah, that's very true. You're not wrong about that. So now Marasco's around. He's not a P4. Shire's back in P9, but he's got plenty of space around him. He's got Osborne a second ahead. He's got Foster like 3 seconds behind. This is one of those few spots on the track where it is sort of a car by himself. But that's got to be frustrating for Scott Shire, because now you're hearing Marasco up to 4th, and he's only, I guess he's 2 seconds behind Tanner Marr for 3rd. But if you're Shire, you feel helpless right now. There's nothing you can do. There's no one to pass. There's no one to whatever.
So
you're just kind of hoping Ty Marasco can't do it.
Critically, right now, now this is rough estimate, right? But I do believe right now they would be tied on points, just starting into bonus points. And if they're tied on points, Marasco wins that on countback because he has more wins and more top fives than Shire. He's got 5 top fives to Shire's 4, and he's also got 1 win, whereas Shire has not.
Actually, I think Marasco would be in the lead. Marasco's also led a lap tonight, which I do believe is a bonus point.
Consulting, you are correct. He has led a lap. So, yeah, that right now, that was the spot that Marasco needed to officially make himself safe. But even if he hadn't, even if it was a battle between Kilrow and Marasco still wins that on countback, even if Kilrow finishes ahead of him. He would need to drop behind Dustin Ping, who right now is almost 3 seconds back in order for him to lose the point advantage.
Do you have a count on most laps left tonight, out of curiosity?
I do not. We can take guesses, but I don't have a confirmed one.
I was just curious because, of course, there's the points for that. There's 3 points for leading the most laps. And obviously, Shire's not in lead. I was wondering how many Marasco led. So maybe he might be in contention for that. Right now, Hop is, of course, trying to pull away with that. See if he can lead the most laps. But there's a few different points available here that could matter. But you're right, it's darn close. And this is the battle for P6 on track. This is Dustin Ping. This is Mark Arthur. And this is getting close here. Mark Arthur. Again, I feel bad for him. Had that contact with Benjamin Lacey. And you have to wonder the what if, right? What if that hadn't happened? How well could he have run up front all night long? But he's still looking to get out of here, possibly with a good finish.
Dustin Ping working to the inside, and now they're going to approach David Lakey. Arthur going in up top, going to get caught behind Lakey. I think Arthur might have just overshot there a little bit to avoid going into the back of Dustin Ping on entry. Ping takes a bold decision to clear himself across the nose of Lakey. Lakey caught a bit of a break there. Arthur now takes one to the inside to try to do the same.
Remember, Ping came into the night 3rd in points, and he has to feel safe in this moment as far as all the points and all the scenarios are concerned. He came in tonight, 6-7 points to the good on the cut line. And a good solid P6 finish will secure that and put him in the playoffs. It's just that last spot in question right now with 4 to go between Marasco and Shire.
11 points to the good, actually. He was 11 ahead of Marasco entering tonight, and 6 ahead of Scott Shire, who was on the bubble spot.
Correct. Yeah, you're right.
But yeah, Dustin Ping looking to points his way into the round of 4, the final round. He has been on point all season long. He has really stepped it up from his season 2 performance, and 1 win under his belt, 12 top 10s in the 20 starts so far that we finished. 5 of those have been top 5s. It has been a great day. Frankly, though, I'm still thinking this is Kilroy's championship to lose, right? 4 wins, 14 top 5s, and out of the 20 races that he has been in so far, he has only finished to finish at the top 10 4 of those times.
Great resume for Dalton Kilroy coming in the next week, and hopefully see if he can have a strong run. By the way, other good stats, I mentioned Jaden Hopp with 2 to go here. We're kind of sharing some stats. Jaden Hopp is 8th race in the High Tide Racing League. He's less than 2 miles from securing his 2nd checkered flag.
Jaden Hopp working his way out of turn number 2, down the back straightaway, starting his trip around for the final time this afternoon. Jaden Hopp made his way into the top 25 in points just 1 week ago. Overall, not a bad start considering there have been 66 competitors in the league, and he comes in so late in the game. 5 top 5s, 5 top 10s, and 1 win so far. That will be the mark he leaves tonight with a 2nd win on the boards. Jaden Hopp, rounding 3 and 4, no competition behind, and Jaden Hopp, repeat winner in the High Tide Racing League in his rookie season.
What a dominant performance by Hopp. He's scrubbed the wall again, just for the little effect at the line, but what a dominant run by Hopp, passing people inside, outside, using the dog leg, and having a great night. And here we go. Everyone's down to the line. We'll wait for the official results and the official word from Racing Control, but I think it's going to be Kilroy, Evans, Ping, and Marasco.
I would have to agree as well. Obviously, like you said, we're going to wait to get full confirmation on that one. But for Jaden Hopp, his first repeat win, it's a big day for the Nexus Esports driver. And I think with that, he has officially made his mark.
Oh, yeah, definitely made his mark. And outside of the wins, he's had some great finishes this season, had some memorable moments. And again, I say, look out next season for the full-time ride for Jaden Hopp, because he will be someone to deal with.
The driver to Whitman, Arizona, burns it down on the front straightaway in the dog leg. What a solid drive that Hopp has had all season long. And I don't think the NASCAR officials would be happy with him doing burnouts in pit road. But, you know, we don't have those.
Talk about that one there.
He's going to victory lane. One of the few tracks you can do that. And how about that? See, you get style points for that one from me. And he may have Austin powered himself. Yeah, he's Austin powered himself. Yeah, good luck getting that one. You'll need a tow hook for that one. Lift the front end off the ground. Okay. It was so good until you did that. He had to go for the style points, right?
Yep.
How many points are being docked for this now on the style points?
You know, he might be one of the few drivers who knows where victory. I mean, I don't mean this negatively, but in iRacing, this is fun to watch. He might be one of the few drivers who knows where victory lane is on the iRacing track. There he is. Now he's going to park correctly.
Very lukewarm take here. If you have victory lane modeled in the track, we need to be able to drive to it iRacing. Get on it. That's okay. Now we're just causing infrastructure damage here. Good grief. What a wave to close out the race, though, this afternoon. Let's take a rundown of the official post-race results this afternoon. The round of 8 officially behind us. Jaden Hopp takes his second official win. Benjamin Lacey in second. Tanner Marr back in third. Ty Marasco should be locked into the round of 4, along with Dalton Kilroe and Dustin Penning, with Mark Arthur in 7th, John Osborne 8th, and looking like Scott Shire will be out of the fight tonight, but put up a good effort in this one here, Derek. Kevin Foster rounds out the top 10.
Moving back to P11 is Sean Williams with Brian Dees behind him. Kyle Wellman, Nick Osipek, and Robert Lukens rounding the top 15. The last car in the lead lap is Larry Bell. And then it's Ethan Sikorsky, David Lakey, Jonathan Canfield, Bob Berry, one lap down. And then your two non-finishers, Connor Gibson and Michael Ashmore, round out a 22-car field here at Phoenix Raceway.
Awesome race today. Only one caution on the afternoon, and some might argue it probably shouldn't have even been a yellow flag, right? But I think a near caution-free race around this race, considering how it started, I think the league really needed this to go as smooth as it could be, and I think we can still salvage this and call this a good, successful night of racing. But we'll get the chance to get a chit-chat here in with all of the drivers that come home with podium position this afternoon. No sign of Jade. There he is. He's hiding from us. We will try to get Jaden Hopp down here. Maybe eventually. There we go. All right, here we go. We got him. So we'll bring the driver out of Whitman, Arizona into the broadcast booth. Jaden, your second win in just 8 starts and a lot of podiums to boot. It's been a good start to your HTRL career. I do think we have to dock your style points, though, for Austin powering yourself in pit road.
No, can I keep those points?
Jaden, can I ask, are you old enough? Have you seen an Austin Powers movie?
I have not.
Okay, that's what I thought.
But your second win of your career, right? 8 starts. It's not something a lot of drivers can boast to this deep into a league's history. It's got to feel good to know that you have officially made your mark by being one of the repeat winners. A lot of people got wins, but a lot fewer have 2 or more.
Yeah, it feels good to be up in that elite category.
Overall, it's been a solid drive for you. You've already talked about your opinions on wanting to run next season full time. So moving on, one more race. Do you think a 3rd win is still in the cards for you at Homestead next week?
Yeah, I'd say it is. Homestead's one of my best tracks, and gotta try and make it interesting for the Final 4. Yeah.
I would hope so. We'll look to see you out once again. Congratulations on taking your second win in just 8 starts. We'll see you next week in Miami.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for everything.
Jaden Hopp comes home with a great drive this afternoon. He'll take up the number 1 spot this afternoon. Let's bring in Benjamin Lacey, the driver that did finish this race he finished this race in second, and doesn't look like we actually have a hold of our second place finisher in this one, Derek. So we'll move on down to Tanner Marr finishing third.
We'll move on down to Tanner Marr finishing P3 tonight. Tanner, well, after we got the race restarted, what appeared to be like a 45-minute virtual rain delay, you had a good run tonight.
We did. Enjoyed it, had fun. I love Phoenix. I'm a short track guy at heart, so anytime we can come to one of these short tracks, it's always fun for me. I always seem to do better here than what I do at the 1.5 miles, and especially the super speedway. So it was good coming off the Cyber 500 yesterday. A lot of racing yesterday to come to a short track out in the desert. It was fun.
So I had the one caution tonight, right around lap 50, right sort of in the middle, almost to the end of pit stops. When that caution happened, what was your feeling and emotions?
I was actually angry at the moment because I thought we were going to be trapped a lap down. Then I think we got the wave around, so that put us back on the lead lap, but it definitely put us behind the 8 ball. There was a lot of us that got sent around for the wave around, so we had a lot of cars to pass. So I was just following Mark Arthur up through, and then I think something happened with him on his final pit stop, ran out of fuel or something like that. But man, it frustration for a while, but then it ultimately just kind of paid off in the end. Just started picking them off one by one, and man, somehow got third. I thought Dalton and Ty were going to run me down there. They pitted a little after me, but the way the cards fell, it just fell in my favor. Shout out to Jaden. I know Benjamin. Both them guys, they were the class of the field tonight. They were bad fast, to say the least.
So you said you're a short track guy at heart. So if you could give a piece of advice to one person out there listening or watching who's not a short track guy, what's the one piece of advice that person should start with to learn how to be a better short track driver?
So, well, you see all the guys like Martinsville League races, you see people hitting each other on entry, right? It's always just slow in, fast off. The slower you are entering the corner, the faster you can be firing off that corner, protecting that right front and protecting that right rear. It's just patience too. I mean, patience is the biggest name of the game, right?
That seems to be all of it across all of racing, doesn't it? And maybe a big problem across iRacing sometimes. Well, Tanner, great run tonight. We know you're having fun out there with your Twitch stream, so congrats on the P3, and we'll see you next week.
All right, thank you, buddy.
All right, that is Tanner Marr and finishing P3 in the 23 machine, Nolan. And I think that's going to wrap up our interviews. I still didn't see Ben Lacey available.
I think he might have gone to bed, and you know what? I can't blame him. It was a long night. Oh, no, there he is. He just popped in just now as we're talking.
Oh, that's good. Grab Ben Lacey. Then, Ben, you finished second on the evening, and well, I'm going to start by asking you first about that contact with Mark Arthur towards the beginning.
Yeah, I was actually just talking to him about that. It's just, hard racing there. I went down to the apron there, the dog legs, first time around, and then the second time, held it up there, and just part of it, I guess. And we hashed it out. We're good, and we'll move forward from it. And hopefully I didn't host his race too much, and we'll come out next week.
So, of the two, which was the harder to race, Mark Arthur or Jaden Hopp?
Mark was really tough to pass. I'm not gonna lie. If that incident on the dog leg didn't happen, I don't know if I would have gotten around him unless I could have gotten to his outside, but he was defending that pretty good. And then Jaden, he's just I hate him, but I love him. You know what I mean? He's a good dude, but he's just so fast all the time, so quick. He's tough to beat. That's why I hate him. But it's a good reason to hate somebody, I guess, for that. But in all reality, I really don't hate the guy. But he's tough to pass as well. But he's also a very smart racer, smart driver. He pit. I don't know if he pit the next lap after me or a couple after. He had the fresher tires, and I knew that, so I was trying to defend to the outside. And I knew it was just a matter of time before he could get around me. I was hoping he'd burn his stuff up before I burned my stuff up, and he was able to get the move done. And from there on out, it was just he gone. So, congrats to him, and that was fun.
All right. Well, obviously a busy night for you, involved in some of the decision making early. So we know you've had a long night, so we're gonna let you maybe get to it and kind of get relaxed and whatever you have to do tonight. Thanks for your time, and we'll see you next week.
Yes, guys. I appreciate everybody's patience with that. Everyone watching, thank you, and come back next week. It'll be a fun one. Championship night.
That's right. As Ben said, Nolan, next week, 1 week from tonight, it's championship night, Homestead Miami Speedway, and where we wrap up the season.
Same lap count, but we tag a half mile out of the track length, right? Same as what's been done the last 2 seasons. Homestead Miami Speedway has been the traditional final race for all it's going to be for all 3 High Tide Racing League seasons so far. We've seen a lot of drama go down there, and as we saw from last season, it doesn't take much to upset a whole championship order. And no matter who we pick for our potential champions at the end of the night, we could be dead wrong at the drop of a hat. So your thoughts? I mean, it's going to be wild next week.
Yeah, it is going to be wild. By the way, we should go ahead and confirm it is Dalton Kilroe, Dustin Ping, Williams, and Ty Marasco as your final 4. What's going to happen next week? I don't know. Like, Ty Marasco's had some great moments. Dalton Kilroe's consistent, been up front. All 4 drivers have had great moments throughout the season. So who wins? I'll need time to think about it. I don't know who could win. But the good news is any 4 of them are capable and likely to win.
It's going to be a wild fight 7 days from today. In the lead up to that, though, you still got to get your preliminary fights in there, don't you, before you get to the main event. And tomorrow night, the MSRL Cup Series will go full-bore trench war at Martinsville Speedway for round number 7 after a 1-week break. The Speed Cup Series takes the first road course race of the season at Circuit of the Americas for the Western layout, with the SRA IEL Truck Series out for the Kansas City 100 at the Kansas Speedway. From there, the ASRL Xfinity Series will be swinging on out to the action track, 230 laps around the 3/4 of a mile short track for round number 3, presented by Purple Haze Autosports. And well, that takes us out to the High Tide Racing League MFRD Premier Series for the final race of the season, coming up just 1 week from today. If you want to find out more about who we are and what we can offer you, check us out today at www.greenflagtv.com. And as always, my name has been Nolan Wempel alongside Derek Watson. It's been a solid drive tonight, and no doubt all of that action we saw tonight, all of the drama that has been building up for the last 4 or 5 months or so, it is going absolutely nowhere. Next week, 4 drivers enter the arena. Only 1 gets to leave, though, as a High Tide Racing League champion. Find out who it's going to be when we go racing down in Miami.